I'm Jade Alexander, and I'm a producer and an actor, and I love creating. I had a thought about who might be interested in watching. Probably if it went online and people are Googling my name, it might come up. So I thought, okay, people in my industry probably would watch a bit of it. Of course, my friends and family. Yeah, so that was my sort of beginning thinking, and then I did a bit of research, had a look at some interviewers talking about interviewing, and then based on what they said, what makes a great interview, I thought I'll come up with questions that, you know, apparently make a great interview, and questions that I think are interesting, not just all related to work or related to personal life.
Yeah.
I'm an actor and I'm a producer. I write and I make things. I also bead, so I do a lot of different things, but I always create. It's something that I love doing is creation. So producing is sort of a natural extension of all of those kind of things. My aunt is a very famous Taiwanese actor and singer. And I think somehow when I was very young that just influenced me. I only saw a few tapes of her singing in Chinese, but I think that influenced me. But then I've also been really interested in always just telling stories as a kid. And I always just wanted to act. I wanted to be in stories. I want to act out the stories that I love and tell them. I wanted to create a show reel for myself as an actor. And I thought, okay, well, I know this person and this person and this person, and we all want something similar, so why don't we bond together and create a film, just a short film. So we did, and I sort of helped the creative process, and I thought, oh, this is fun, I really like this, I enjoy it. And then I ended up producing a cabaret for cancer that raised some money for cancer. I wrote the story, I performed it, brought everyone together, and yeah, and sold it to an audience, which was great. And just before I left Australia, I thought, I'm really interested in producing. You know, by that point I'd worked on another film as a production coordinator, and I'd worked with 2 producers, just meeting up with them and talking about producing. And just before I left, I thought, this is a great moment. I know all these people, I've been in this industry for so long, I might as well just go for it. I have no money, let's go for it, let's make a film. So I went and I made a film, and I talked to a writer who I thought was very talented, who hadn't written a script before. Talked to him and he got very excited. We wrote a script, he came back to me, we workshopped it, then I got some great directors on board, and it all sort of happened in this whirlwind of like 2 months. And we put it together and we filmed it, and it was amazing. And then post-production took like 8 months.
Yeah, welcome to my world.
And at that point, I was living in London. So every morning I'm on the phone to Sydney, supervising post-production in Sydney. And it was then nighttime at that point. So calling them at night, supervising post-production, and then liaising with some of the post-production team in London. So it was this interesting time. For months I was doing that, and then I entered it into a few competitions, and we got into the Cannes Film Festival this year. So it was very exciting, and I really enjoyed it. I loved bringing people together. That's one thing that excites me about a film, as well as an actor. Working on a film set, you are working with all these different people, and they've all got energies and they're all thinking about different things, but you're all putting it into the same direction. You're all putting your energy into one thing. Well, my film made it to Cannes, so I was very excited about that. And I was also accepted into an internship program to go to Cannes. I was one of 4 people chosen to work with IVIEWME, which is probably the largest talent agency in the world, I think. And yeah, I ended up being one of 4 who was privileged to work with their sales and production team and just see things from a completely different point of view, working at the Carlton Hotel and overlooking the Crozet. It was just amazing. That was a definite triumph. Probably the most amazing is that I'm actually been with my fiance for 11 years. So that to me is a big personal triumph, and we got engaged, and it's very exciting. People make a lot of comments in this industry, not people from the industry, but people outside. When you're an actor and you say, I'm an actor, and I've been doing this since I was 7 years old, and I always say I'm an actor, and people say, oh, that's very difficult. Oh, that must be so hard. Oh, you know, you're never going to make any money. Oh, that's just terrible. Oh, wow, that's amazing, but you know, what have you been in? and you're constantly confronted in your personal life with these kind of questions whenever you go out, whenever you meet new people who aren't connected to the industry. They are constantly sort of, without realizing it, being very negative about your occupation, which can be quite a downer. You get people saying these horrible things and you're thinking, yes, it is hard, but you saying that's not making it any easier. I think people are very naturally curious about it. They want to hear about it. They want to hear all the good things and the bad things, and almost like a trash magazine. I think there's also that whole starving artist idea, which I'm very much against. You don't have to be starving to be a working actor. Not at all. You know, you might do other jobs as well in between time, but you're a contractor just like any other contractor. And I think that there's this myth that you can fall into as an artist, as somebody in the arts which says that, you know, you have to live on peanut butter sandwiches for a week at one point in your life. And I don't believe that. I think money is an energy, and it will come to you when you put things out there, and then it'll leave as well. It's just give and take. But, you know, the reality is it's like any other job. There are good days, there are bad days, there are in-between days. I find it sometimes difficult to cope with people just constantly saying these horrible things. So I tend to say to them, well, you know, I haven't been in anything you might have seen unless you go to sort of smaller film festivals, or, you know, I was on this show, but you might not have seen me there, and da-da-da. And people say, oh, okay, oh, right, so you're not famous. I'm like, well, fame isn't actually the be-all and end-all in every career. In most careers, if you kind of rise up and feel personally satisfied in your role, then that's fine. But in my career, it seems to be, if you're not famous, then therefore you're not very good. Which I think is a very interesting dichotomy, because it doesn't mean that at all. It just means that, you know, you might not have had the opportunities, or you might have chosen very different roles, or both. So I think, coping with people's comments can be annoying. I've learnt that you never know somebody until you work intensively with them on a project. Ever. That's when you find out who people are. And although they might be very nice people, when you're working with them, they might not necessarily be the nicest people. So yes, I think working on a film, especially, you tend to make friends for life or enemies for life. It's one or the other. I've learned that you can't ever believe that just because you didn't get that audition or you didn't get that role, you can't believe that that means that you're a bad actor, or that means you're not particularly good. As anyone will tell you, it is so many factors, down to, oh, you're 2 inches too tall, or your hair is slightly the wrong shade of brown for us. So you can never take things personally, and I think that's something I've slowly been learning, is that when people reject you for any particular reason, it's never personal. It's part of the flow of life, I guess. I've also learned that I'm constantly learning. And determination. Determination is everything. There was years ago a conference of psychologists, psychoanalysts, and top artists. And the point of the conference was, what is talent? And they spent a week sitting down there trying to work out what is this thing called talent, and analysing all these people who are, you know, top of their game, amazing, amazing artists in their own right, very talented. And at the end of the week, they said to them, well, we've kind of diluted it down, and from all our interviews, all our assessments, talent really equals determination and passion. So talent is not necessarily something you need to be born with. it's definitely determination and passion and a love. So that's something I've learned. I'd be lying if I said no, it's been amazing. Oh, of course, there have been times where I've thought to myself, what am I doing? Why have I got no work again? You know, I've just done an 8-month tour and it was fantastic, and now I have no work and everything's terrible and I hate my life and I have no prospects. Yeah, but I think out of those times where I've been really low and disappointed and upset, through that disappointment and that painful process that you go through where you self-recrimination, all that stuff, I found out that I really do want to produce more, and I really enjoyed it. And through other stages of disappointment in my life, I've actually been able to re-examine and say, well, what is exactly wrong with why am I so unhappy? And then hopefully being able to move out of that and say, no, I want to go in this direction now. So they've actually been really good to self-reflect and say, okay, no, I'm not doing any more of that. I'm moving over this way. And no, I'm not going to do that because it doesn't make me as happy and it's too difficult, and I'm going to move over this side because this is what I love. I want to produce more films, find more talented people to work with, and produce films that I believe are worthy of being a film, because I don't think that you should make a film just because you can. I think you should make a film because it is a great idea, it's a great script, there is something that needs to be said in this film. So I want to produce films like that. I want to produce a feature. I want to be in them. I want to be in more films. I want to do more sci-fi because I love sci-fi. I love action. And I think sci-fi has a lot to say about current politics, social trends. And you can say all these things without getting into trouble. And still have your film released in Iraq. It's great. You can say all these socially hot topics, but have it in space and nobody minds. So I want to produce intelligent sci-fi action genre films and get them out there and get people watching them and thinking about them. And I love the fact that I can choose what I want to do, when I want to do it, and I can choose who I want to work with. I hate the fact that I don't have, well, it's frustrating not having a steady income. I hate the fact that people can tend to be quite rude to you because they don't know where to place you. You know, they sort of say, oh, producer, well, that means, you know, you're sort of floating. You know, people can be quite rude if they don't know your place in society. It is definitely a love-hate relationship, and there are days when I get up and I think, what am I doing with my life? And there are days when I get up and I think, I cannot wait to start the day. So, and I love that roller coaster. This is an interesting question because I really underestimated how difficult it is to relocate your entire life, your career, everything to a whole different country where you don't have an offer of work and where you're allowed to work, but you might not have a job there, and to just set up everything again. And that is very difficult. There are points where you think, oh, I can't make this work, I'm just going to go home. But at the same time, personally, I don't feel like there is much in the way of professional work at home for me. I feel like I've sort of grown out of it and I want to move somewhere different. And I love different and new things. So this whole missing home thing is a very big surprise. And I miss it in certain ways, but then I absolutely adore London in other ways. So I can't imagine going home now.